It's 10. Let's get started. Welcome. My name is Dina Jensen, and hello, Internet. YouTube meet Instagram, Instagram meet YouTube. I'm here live to give you some counter poses to modern life because we have all been sitting a lot. So here in Northern Virginia, we had our first big snow and there was ice included in with that. And many of us haven't left our homes. I know that I haven't been out of the house in a couple of days, I realized. Today I'm going out. But what we can do is get some novelty and get some movement in the body, even if we're not getting as much movement outside. We can get it within our practice. So if you happen to practice near a wall or a chair, that might be something that we use in the practice. And if you happen to have blocks, they really make yoga so comfortable. If you don't have blocks, I'd encourage you to check them out and see what that's all about. It's really nice to practice with blocks. So if you have blocks, you can go ahead and get blocks, and we'll be doing a few kneeling things. So blankets are always welcome. The first posture we'll do is a restorative heart opener. And I like to do this with any kind of prop that can go all the way down your spine. So think about how long your spine is, and let's put the head on top of the spine too. Can you think of something that is long enough that it can support your head all the way down your spine? So maybe a nice long foam roller, maybe a towel that you roll up, or some blankets that you roll up. So something that can fit comfortably from your head all the way down to your tailbone. And if you can't find anything that is suitable, use two things, put a couple of things together. Okay, so we're gonna begin in a restorative heart opener. Join me. I'm going to lie down on my foam roller. So it's a really long one, and you can see it looks like a log. So anything that you have that might look like this, and you can see it goes from my head all the way down, because I would like you to sit on your prop. You can take a blanket, open it up, and roll it so it sort of looks like this. So I'll encourage you, I know this is black, so you might not be able to see it, but I am sitting up on my, at the bottom of the foam roller, almost like falling off of it. And then lie each vertebrae down, try to center it on whatever you're lying down on. And if you find that your head plops down on the floor, grab a couple pillows or a folded up blanket. And then you can place your arms wherever it's comfortable for you. The first place I'll suggest is at about shoulder height. And see if you might turn your palms up towards the ceiling. I also have my knees bent and my feet are planted on the ground to give me a little support. Settle in here. If this is uncomfortable for you, I'll invite you to lie down on your back. We're not going to do very many sitting poses because we just sit so much. So let's see if we can use the ground to get centered. So feel some breath as you take a nice breath in through the nose. Try to fill up the torso, the belly with some breath. And then on your breath out, breathe out through the nose and start to relax and sink into the prop or the floor. Let's take a nice conscious breath in through the nose again. Can you breathe in some love and kindness towards yourself? And when a breath out comes, release love and kindness out to the world. On a third breath in, take a nice breath in and breathe in something you want more of today. And on your breath out, release something you're ready to be done with, some obstacle. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths in and out. Try to focus on something as you breathe. So I'll suggest that you focus on your own breath, where you're moving in the body when you breathe, or you can focus on a word, or if you would like to have some gratitude, think of something that you're grateful for today. And then as you reach your third cycle of that breath, we're going to come off of the prop. If you're high, like I am on a roller, a foam roller, just sort of roll off. So you can come to your side and get whatever you had under you out of the way. There's a lot of fun things you can do with foam rollers. So we're going to lie on our backs again. And I'd like you to, I'll show you what we'll do with the arms. So I'm going to come here. We're going to be crossing, bending at the elbows, and putting one forearm on top of the other and touching just opposite shoulders and lying your head back on that, okay? So we're just trying to get to a whole bunch of places that get tight. Lie down. Lift your arms overhead, bend at the elbows, lift your head up, and then have your head relax back down onto whatever forearm is on top. And then you can bend the knees and put the soles of the feet together and open the knees wide. You could slide some blocks underneath your thighs or pillows under your thighs or your knees here. Or if you would rather, you can slide your shins to cross and then let the knees open. So just take a moment and see which of these feels good for you. And this is a really nice thing that you can do anytime, right? Before you're about to sit down and do something, or at night if you're relaxing, just slide onto the floor and do this for a breath or two. Feel your own breathing and just feel some openness, some spaciousness in places that were tight. The body's happy that you're taking care of it. And now switch the cross of the forearm. So let's put the other forearm on top. And if you were someone that you slid shin in front of shin, go ahead and cross the opposite shin and see how that works for you. And we'll use the breath here to start to continue to open tight spaces, finding space, finding the counter pose for our modern day life. With breath, with stretch, with movement, with presence. Okay, so slowly come out of this. And then bend your knees. Have your feet on the ground. I'm just going to move the screen a little bit down. There we go. And let's begin with arms overhead, legs long, lying on your back. Okay, so we'll keep the legs neutral like we're in a standing pose, but we're lying down. What's nice about this is our relationship with gravity is different. So gravity is supporting us. Our spine is supported and nice and neutral. You can give some active legs so your toes and your knees point up to the ceiling, and place your arms to your side. And let's begin with a breath in. Breathe in, lift your arms overhead and see how far they want to go today. They might frame your ears, they might not. Try to soften the low ribs down. Just give a good stretch. And on an exhale, let's bring one thigh into the body, hugging the knee or thigh in towards the chest with your hands around the front of the shin or back of the thigh. Whenever an inhale comes, start at the beginning, step the leg down, reach the arms overhead, hug the opposite thigh into the body. Just warming up shoulders, warming up hips. Inhale, lift your arms overhead, and exhale, put your both arms down to your side. So if you could step your feet onto the ground now, bend the knees. Let's do a bridge pose. So walk your shoulder blades a little bit down away from your necks. Snuggle those shoulder blades in underneath you as you place your arms to your side. Step into the feet, maybe put the feet a little closer to the body, trying to keep the thighs parallel to each other. It can be nice to bend at the elbows and have 90-degree arms. So with a breath in, step into the feet. As you lift the hips up, you can give a slight engagement in the butt muscles. You might snuggle the shoulder blades under you a little more, getting a stretch through the front body that gets so tight. We're going to stay here for another breath in and out. And then on your breath, next breath out, roll down. Try to feel each vertebrae touch the mat, including the parts of the vertebrae, the spine that usually don't touch. So try to keep the tailbone tucked and press that whole low back into the mat. Good. And now if you could reach your palms up to the ceiling and fan out your fingers, keep your shoulder blades grounded, but push your heel of the hand up towards the ceiling more as you pull your fingertips back towards you. So some of you may be spending a lot of time on computers and keyboards or phones, and we're just trying to stretch out some of those areas, some of those joints. Take a nice breath in. This is like tabletop arms, holding here without any weight bearing. And then bend at all of your finger joints like you're clawing the ceiling. Be mindful about that. And then keep closing the hands into fists. You're welcome to tuck the thumb under the fingers if you want, and then knock the knuckles a couple of times. Up and down, up and down. And we'll do that one more time. So fan out those fingers, reach the palms up towards the ceiling, especially the heel of the hand. Spread your fingers wide apart from each other. Pull the fingertips back towards you. Keep your shoulder blades on the breath and on the back and feel the breath. And then bend at all of the finger joints, clawing the ceiling, closing up the hands into fists, knock a few times, and then circle out those fists in one direction and the other direction. All right, please place your arms to your side. We'll come into a lying down twist. So it's really the spine usually enjoys this and the shoulders enjoy this. Straighten out your legs. Choose one leg to bring in towards the torso. Bend that knee. The same arm of that knee that's bent, that just drops out about shoulder height, and you can have your palm up or your palm down. And then the hip of the bent knee, that lifts off the ground as you start to come into your twist. So the knee goes to the opposite side, and the hand that's closest to that leg, it slides on top of it. So you can slide your hand on the outer knee or on the outer thigh, and you should be in a lying down twist. So we can keep encouraging the ribs and the shoulders to twist away from the hips. Shine your heart up towards the ceiling, maybe look up to the ceiling, maybe even look towards the opposite hand. And then fill up your body, especially the torso, rib cage, shoulders with some breath. In and out. Okay, let's come back to your starting place. Roll back onto your spine, straighten your legs, and go on to the other leg. So the opposite knee and thigh come in towards the body. The hand and arm of that leg just drops out to shoulder height, palm up or down. You lift the hip of that knee that's bent so that hips start to stack, knee goes to the opposite side. There's a hand that's close to that leg. Slide it on there in some way that feels good for you. So you can encourage more or less of a twist here. It's really your choice, your practice, your body. And then you can keep turning the rib cage and heart up to the ceiling to feel more of the effects of the twist or less. What do you need today? And then once you get comfy, take a good breath in and fill yourself up with breath and energy. Feeling the breath. And then go ahead and roll back onto your back. We'll bend the knees. The last lying down posture is to get into the back of the thighs. So bring one leg in towards the body enough, not too much, but enough that you can put your hands behind the back of that thigh. Flex that foot. You might even clasp fingers if you can reach. Flex that foot, and on a breath in, straighten the leg. And the leg might not fully straighten, but reach that foot to the ceiling. Point the foot. On a breath out, bend the knee. On your breath in, flex the foot and straighten the leg. You can press the back of the thigh forward towards your hands, and then point the foot, bend the knee. One more. Inhale, flexing, straightening the leg. Hold here if it's reasonable for you, and circle your foot in one direction. Feel your breath and circle your foot in the other direction. If it becomes too intense, you bend the knee, but don't step the foot down, just circle the foot. Good. And then everybody, let's step the foot down and do the other side. Bring the other leg in towards the torso, enough that you can then slide your hands behind the back of the thigh, flex the foot, inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, point the toes, bend the knee. Inhale, flex the foot as you reach the foot towards the ceiling. Point the foot on an exhale, bend the knee, and then we'll hold. Flex the foot, straighten the leg, and circle your ankle. Move your foot around in a circle to warm up the ankle. And change the direction. And then step your foot down. Okay, so you can put your hands behind your thighs, pump your shins, keep your chin tucked in, and roll up, or you can roll to your side and then roll up. And then if you could find something to support your knees, if you have sensitive knees, and here is where we would use blocks if you have blocks. So let's do a couple cat-cows. And then get even more into the front of the hips. Stretching out the spine, stretching out the hips. All right. Step your wrists underneath your shoulders. Put your knees underneath your hips. Point your toes straight back. Fan out the fingers. Ground through the index pad of your hands. You can grip slightly with your fingertips. Take a breath in, fill up that torso with breath, and on your exhale, press into the mat as you round the spine to the ceiling, dropping the head and tailbone. On an inhale, flip the spine. Shine your heart forward. Draw your shoulders back. On your next exhale, cat pose, the rainbow spine towards the ceiling. Your inhale, flip the spine, opening up the heart, pulling the shoulders back. Your exhale, come into your cat pose, hold the cat, hold the rounding, sit the hips towards the heels as much as you want, trying to feel stretch through the spine. And then on your inhale, flip that spine. And then come back to table pose. And let's find the blocks. And if you don't have blocks, do the best you can with your hands on the ground. So we want to step one foot into the half split or the reverse lunge. So you choose a foot that you step first. You can pause in the low lunge, or you can step the foot straight forward. If you pause in the low lunge, move the back knee back a little bit. It might give you more space to then straighten that front leg, okay? And we'll start with the blocks walked back. Your toes, front leg, toes and knees pointed straight up, and you can pull that front hip back a little bit and feel the sensations in the back of the thigh for your half split or reverse lunge. Let's walk the blocks forward, or walk your hands forward, ground through the front foot, and then let the hips drop down as much as you want. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, pull the hips back. You can walk the blocks back, or you can keep them where they are. The hips sit back as much as you want. And on your inhale, the hips come forward and the heart opens up. Exhale, pull the hips back. Inhale, hips come forward and up. So I'll show you what that looks like walking the blocks. Exhale, the blocks come back with you. The toes come off the ground. Inhale, the blocks come forward with you as the hips drop and the heart opens. Let's do one more. Breathe out. And you might even sit all the way back to the heel. It's really up to you how it feels in your body today. Getting a good stretch through the back of the leg of the front leg and the front of the hip of the back leg. All right, let's do the other side. Step back into table. And then you can try to step all the way forward, or you can pause in that low lunge. But let's get that front leg forward and neutral. Pull the front hip back, getting deeper in that front hip crease. And taking a breath. Walk the blocks forward, ground through the front foot. And this is a breath in where you release the hips down and you open the heart up, and a breath out pulls the hips back as you sit back. Especially try to pull that front hip back. The inhale opens up, dropping the hips, opening the heart. You can even look up if you want. The exhale pulls the hips back. Do a couple more with your own breath. If a different breath pattern works for you, please invite that. Or if just natural breath works for you, please invite that. This will be the last one. So enjoy it. Breathing in, out. Okay, lovely. If we could come down now onto your bellies. If you want to open up the blanket to support you, you can open up the blanket. So we're going to work the back muscles. The back muscles get pretty tired from sitting all the time, so we want to wake up the back muscles. Let's lie down either on your carpet, your mat, your blanket, whatever. Spread out those legs as much as is comfortable for you, pointing the toes straight back. Put your hands underneath your shoulders, or they can be a little bit lower, so explore where to put the hands. The elbows are lifted off of the ground and they squeeze together. Shoulders are away from the floor. And now on a breath in, lift the heart. Feel like you're pulling your spine out of the pelvis. Lift the heart forward, let the head follow. Look down the nose. Don't press into the mat too much. Lift your hands to get more strength. Strengthening in the back, put the hands back down, keep pressing into the top of the feet, keep the thighs active, and then let's lower. Take a breath. We're going to combine now using the locust legs, so the legs are going to lift up at the same time we lift the heart. On an inhale, lift the heart, lift the spine out of the pelvis, lift both legs at the same time, spread the legs apart, and then bring the legs together, lower halfway. On your next inhale, lift everything, spread the legs as much as you can. And then on your exhale, come all the way back down, take a breath. So you can stay here to rest. You can push yourself up into a cat-cow again. You can pull your hips back into a child's pose or puppy dog, or you can do a down dog. So make a choice that gets a good stretch through the spine, taking some nice breaths in and out. All right, lovely. So let's come to standing. However you like to get up, come to standing. And if you do have a chair nearby, let's find the chair. You could also use a wall. Get my water. So if you could please find mountain pose in front of your chair or in front of the wall. Mountain pose is a wonderful counter pose to modern life, right? Just standing, standing purposely. Put your feet right under your hips. Lift your toes, feel the soles of your feet. If you have on socks, you might want to take them off. Spread the toes apart and put them back down on the ground and just feel the ground under you. Root into the ground under you. Root into gratitude, peace, calm. Root into your Friday. Strong legs, right? Supporting you and holding you here. Lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And again, feel that spine lifting out of the pelvis, growing, growing, growing taller. Feels so good. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your gaze is soft, or you can close your eyes. Sometimes we forget this is a pose. And we'll hold this pose in mountain strength, stability. So let's get a little more stretch in the front of the thigh, and that's where this chair will come into play. So you put your hand on a chair, or put your hand on the wall, or put your hand on any piece of furniture. Now, not everybody is going to be able to actually reach their foot. So if you can't reach your foot and you're somebody that you happen to have a yoga strap, you could wrap your strap around the ankle and use that to lengthen your arm. You lean a little bit to one side. You're going to bend the knee and try to grab that foot behind you. So the knee wants to point straight down and not out to the side. You can even kick your hand in your foot that you're holding on to into your hand a little bit and let that give a stretch in the shoulder. Try to face forward, take a breath in and out. So getting a stretch through the front of the thigh and also the front of the shoulder in this pose. So this is a variation of the dancer pose. And then step out of that. See how that shoulder's feeling. See how the front of the thigh is feeling. Check in. And let's do the other side. So you just a slight lean to the other side for your standing leg. Put your hand on something. Can you grab that foot? Can you grab it? The knee might point out a little bit, but then draw it back in and down to point towards the ground beneath you. Again, you could have your strap or a towel or something wrapped around your foot instead of your hand. I just happen to be able, I have sort of long arms. And then once you get into that balance pose, you can press your foot into your hand a little bit more. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath in and out. So we can do that one more time, or if you want to use the chair or the wall to start to bend forward and do a little bit of a different exploration into dancer's pose, we can play with that. Okay, so we'll start again with the first leg, standing strong on that, finding the back foot. And then we add on to dancers by putting just a little bit of a forward bend. So you can bend at the front hip crease of your standing leg. You can push the foot into your back hand to lift the thigh. You can reach forward with the front arm. You might tap a wall or move the chair or move yourself back in any way that works for you or not. All right, let's come out of that one and do the other side. So make adjustments. If I had wanted to use the chair, I realized that maybe the chair should have been further forward. Just make any adjustments that you need. Okay, so grab your foot, get balanced, root down through that standing leg. And if you want to add on a bend in the front hip, holding onto the chair or the wall, you start to bend forward with a long spine. You can press that foot into your back hand, lifting the back thigh. Maybe reach the front arm out, touching something or not, breathing. Come on out. All right, lovely, lovely. So hopefully you feel a little more open in different places that get really tight from our modern day life and patterns. Let's come back onto the ground. I want to do just one seated pose for the side body. So you can sit up on a blanket, maybe fold a blanket in half in some way and put your butt bones up on that blanket. Take your time. So you want to pull the flesh from the butt bones and kind of walk them forward so you have an upright pelvis. And then we'll spread the legs apart from each other and choose one leg where you bend the knee and bring the foot in towards the pelvic floor, or it can be further from the body or closer into the body. And then the bottom, the extended leg, the straight leg, the toes and the knees point up to the ceiling. Okay. We're going to take a side bend here. So the arm of the bent knee, you lift that on a breath in, and then on a breath out, you're going to lean towards the straight leg. And then the bottom arm, it can be wherever it's comfortable for you. I'm going to put my elbow in front of the inner knee. Sometimes we put a block here to support that arm. So imagine this top hand is reaching towards the toes. Doesn't touch. It's just like a journey, breathing and trying to get into that side body. Good breath in and out. Supporting, if you need a support underneath that bent knee, of course, put something under there. Hold for one more breath. All right, we'll lift yourself up and go to the other side. So straighten both legs. And you can even bend the knee by putting your hands under that knee crease and pulling the foot in. If that knee isn't happy, right, you put something under it. Or you put a block here. This is why I just enjoy the block so much. So many things you can do. So the extended leg, the toes and the knees are up to the ceiling, right? The arm of the bent knee, that inhales up. And the exhale leans you towards the straight leg. So we're targeting the side body here. For any of you that have tension in the low back, sometimes that QL gets really tight. This is one of my favorite stretches for that. Let your head just relax. Get a neck stretch in there too. Breath filling up the torso. Breath is stretching the side. Enjoy. All right. Come on out on a breath. And then if you could lie down, and we'll come just into a few seconds of Shavasana. But if you are at home and after I wrap this up, you should feel empowered to stay in your own Shavasana. So lie down, bend your knees. Let's hug the knees just one time into the body, taking a good breath in and out. You can either straighten the legs, you could put your calves up on that chair if you wanted. You could bend the knees and put the feet on the ground. There's so many options. Shavasana, you could practice on your side, you can practice on your belly. It's your practice, your yoga, your body. And just let everything start to sink and be supported. If you're on your back especially, feel that support of the floor under you, the earth lifting up to support you, dropping into gravity. Letting all of the bones drop of the skeleton, the bones of the skeleton drop, and all the muscles start to relax. Let your worries drop, your concerns. Letting all of the yoga settle into your nervous system. And now please deepen your breath. Feel the breath coming in and out. And wiggle fingers, toes, ankles, and wrists. If you'd like to give a good stretch or hug your knees in, get some movement in the physical body, feel the physical body. If there's anything we didn't get to, you were wishing we would have gotten to it, you should do that now. At the end of class, I like to roll to the side and then come up. And we'll just take a nice tall seat. Pull the flesh out from your butt bones in any way that you feel comfy. Sit tall, lifted spine, tune into the breath. And feel the inhale, lift the spine, grow it out of the pelvis, nice and tall. Exhale, brings your heart into your hands to your heart center. Anjali Mudra. Please bow a humble mind to your open heart. May we live like the lotus at home in the muddy water. Have a